Welcome to Electrify, the video show and podcast for electricians only, with your hosts Paul Abernathy and Jay the Basement King Grunberg. Sit back and enjoy the show. What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Electrify. My name is Paul Abernathy, one of your co-hosts, and with me, as always, my co-host all the way out in Colorado, where he's under a mile of snow. If it isn't anybody else, it wouldn't be the Basement King, Jay Grunberg himself, the Basement King. Jay, welcome to the show.
What's happening? Happy Thursday night to you, Mr. Abernathy, and everybody out there. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. Here on a Thursday evening, a day after a marathon of exam prep last night, keeping us sharp. Here we are for another night. So welcome everybody out there. Loss, Aaron, Bro Hammy, Schwartzy, welcome. Adam, thanks for joining us, and all those out there that are quiet in the background who don't want to come out of the woods to tell me where you at, where you from, and how long have you been listening? There you go. That's the question for tonight, Jay, to everybody is, where you at? How long you been listening? Okay, that type of thing.
Yeah, so, looks like Carlos is from Denver, so he's right where I'm at. That's right, my neck of the woods. And there we go.
Seth has already started with the Staples thing. I am not sure whether Seth and his buddy are joined at the hip or not. I'm not sure yet. I haven't figured that out yet, but boy, they have their own little communications going on back and forth but if he wonders why the other hasn't gotten his stream, is because when you mention other educators on this platform, or you mention other websites or other podcasts, you get banned. So that might explain it. Okay. There's the rules for the day. Paul's a tyrant. You only get to put his stuff on there. Anyway, so what were we talking about? Before I got on
where people are at. They
oh, that's right. Where are you at?
Van 3 months ago. Yeah, Carlos, I got 3 vans out there right now. 3 vans and 2 trucks. So, and here soon, when my project manager gets back from his foot injury surgery he had, I'll have 3 trucks because I'll be forced to get another one. So we're growing, buddy. We're actually doing a different system now.
You got alarms on there. You got alarms on everything now, right?
Yeah. So all the vehicles have alarms, automatic starts, and they have tracking locations. So
that's what I'm talking about. No more busting in the Basement King's stuff.
No more.
You're gonna be tracked and you're gonna be prosecuted. Just saying.
That's right.
I'm just saying. And we're gonna have some good old Colorado justice. Okay? I'm just saying. You know, it's not the same as Deliverance, but Colorado, it's close. All right, so we see we got it.
Each one of those installations ran about $1,200 to $1,500, depending on whether or not, because my older vans, the 2010 and 2012, 2010 and 2013 van, they were manual door locks, so they didn't have like the automatic door. I'd actually push it down, so I had to pay an extra $100 per door. So the 2 up front, the slider, and the one in the back. So I had to pay $400 extra on 2 vehicles, on 2 of the vans, so that they would click automatically and lock from the little control modular.
That sounds like a racket. Just saying. Yo, sir, you need another module. Oh, sir, you need another module. That's another $100. That's another $100. Wait a minute. It almost sounds like a plumber. All right. Anyway. So, all right. We see where everybody's rolling in from. Maryland, Connecticut, Denver, southwestern Illinois,
Okay.
We got Austin, down in Austin, right down the, I say down the road, but right down the way. Why did it scrolling so quickly? What do we got? Lubbock. That's Lubbock, not Lubbock. Wait, you, hey,
Oh,
you can
my
tell
bad.
he's not from Texas, right? So it's Lubbock. Okay.
It's Lubbock,
Lubbock.
y'all.
Oh, we
Around
missed it. We
here.
missed it. Aaron. Thank you again, Aaron. Aaron is always setting the mark. I'm just saying. Just always setting the mark.
No, up with that guy. I dare you guys to try tonight.
Oh, we got Ketsoya. He was with us last night on the marathon exam prep. Let's see. What do we got? Carlos is in the house. Seth is in the house.
Beard on him.
Huh?
Ketsoya. He's got a big old big old you're one of those
electrician.
Harley
Electrician right there. That's electrician. We got
that's
my Domingo. Welcome, Lubbock. That's I wouldn't say that's right down the road from me. I'm not sure exactly where the Lubbock is in relation. I saw Dallas in there. Dallas in the house, right down the road. Hop, skip, and a jump. Holla at me when you're up here in McKinney. We'll stop at a Starbucks. I boycott them usually, but I'll stop and have a coffee. We can chat.
They'll make you pay those. Make sure you bring $30 because
I'll pay. Don't worry, I'll pay. I'll pick up the tab. Come on, I'll pick. Aaron paid for it. There you go. Thank you.
True.
Aaron paid for it. Let's see who we got. What else we got?
That's funny.
Denver. Denver. Seth is right in your backyard.
Yeah, Seth isn't too far from me, man. He does a lot of work here, in the same areas that I do work in.
Yeah. Pittsburgh. Chip out of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of people rolling in here. Again, well, we thank all of you.
Are you a contractor, Chip? What are you doing there? Do you work for someone? Let me know what you do too. If you guys own your business, because tonight's topic we're going to go over is going to be about how a business starts up and some key factors that we think can grow a business and how we started our own businesses. So if you guys tell us what level you guys are at, whether it's an apprentice, maybe it's a journeyman, maybe it's a owner, maybe it's an inspector.
So the key topic, Jay, it ties into that is the starving electrician, or should I say starving electrical contractor. 2020. Oh, wait a minute, we didn't do our normal. How are things in Colorado?
Oh, things are good, man. It was hot as heck today. I mean, again, one of those things where you wear a hoodie or a long sleeve, when you leave the house around 6 o'clock, and by 9 o'clock you're in a short sleeve like this, hanging out, and probably not shorts unless you're that guy that we do our commentary on. He always seems to wear shorts even in the rain, but here we got to wear pants. But no, it's going great, man. All the snow's kind of melted away, and big shout outs to my son today. He started his first job at Freddy's. So
I remember that last week we were talking about it on the show. Is his very first job. Mama's excited. Everybody's excited. It's always people remember their first job. My first episode on that. What was your first job? My first job was delivering. See how many people remember this? Grit newspaper. Just a little rural newspaper called Grit. Grit. And I was probably 10 years old, 11 years old, and I'd go around the neighborhood trying to sell this really lame magazine. Right? It basically reminds me of the coffee news that you'd find inside of a restaurant, but it was quite a few more pages. And so you had to buy it to resell it. It wasn't like with the newspaper delivery where they get it and you got to sell them and then you pay whatever. No, I had to buy the episode, buy the papers, and then try to sell them. It was terrible. That was my first job ever.
That's bad.
It's awful. It was off.
I think my first job was handing out flyers for a perfume or cologne business.
They usually get a woman to do that. What? I mean, really?
Well, back then I was
pretty?
bees, man. He was
pretty. He was pretty.
Muscles and
okay. Pretty.
Nowadays, it's not the same. Hey, Chip, you're electrical foreman at a school district maintenance department. Okay, well, really good. Good. Imagine Pittsburgh got pretty big schools. I know here in Colorado, some of the schools are going remote because of COVID spikes. I imagine Chip that's I don't know. That's probably pretty hard sometimes to be a electrical foreman on a school district with working from remote. I guess you get a lot of stuff done. Schwartzy says he's a master. I own and work for a company. Does that mean you own and work for your own company, Schwartzy? Because I do that too. I own my company, but I'm also a worker there as far as I pay myself a salary and I kind of put myself project manager.
I think Seth said that we work. If you own your own company, you still work for the company, right? Because it's not like you're your own boss. You can do what you want. The company owns you, and you end up spending all your time involved in the company.
Oh, dude, I'm a slave to my company.
Absolutely.
I mean, I really am. And I mean that in the most respectful way. I work even now. You think, and we'll get into it with starving electricians and contractors as we start up. But even now, 8 years into it, could I sit back and relax? Probably, and just be okay with just letting the company kind of run itself? Sure, but I'm not there yet, though. And I've talked about this, man. I'm just not there yet. I haven't put in the landscape lighting. When I put in the landscape lighting package, I'm there, buddy. I'm there.
Inside joke. Okay. I'm okay. You know what? We're gonna have a show coming up about ancillary businesses that I think that electrical contractors could get into and it not cost them a lot of money, and there's a big potential upside of it. But you know what? If the Basement King wants to make fun of it, I just probably will just mute his mic and just talk about it myself at some point. But anyway, that might be an upcoming show because I got a lot of ideas for ancillary businesses that you can add on to your existing contracting business to make more money. Don't I sound like a commercial?
Yeah,
Shouldn't I have a jingle for that? Making money with the guru.
Making baby.
All right.
Carlos, AW, and I do residential service calls. That makes sense, right? You're a licensed journeyman, and you do service calls probably on the side. Michael Stanley, first job was landscaping. There's your guy.
That's different. Landscape lighting, landscape uplighting, landscape, that type of stuff is different than landscaping. Basement King. Okay, I'm just saying. Obviously, we're going to have an episode where I educate you on that. I'm just saying. What do we got here? Seth says he found out his inspector moonlights as an investigator. I can relate to that because most people know I did own an investigation firm at one time in the state of Virginia. I was a private investigator on the side, I should say, while I was helping somebody else establish their required number of hours. I didn't intend for it to be a full-time job forever. But again, I had the credentials, so I could get qualified. He couldn't. But he had to put in the time. So I just formed a company, and he put in the time. That type of thing. Yes, actually, I did carry, and I still carry 60% of the time. But yeah, I used to do a lot of work with the firearms back in Virginia. I had a buddy of mine that had a shoot house, and he used to do all of this training for the criminal justice department in Virginia. And obviously, every time he had a class, he always had an opening. Well, guess who was eager to go? I'll go. And it didn't cost him anything because he's a buddy. So, I got shotgun certified, handgun certified, both revolver and semi-automatic certified. Obviously I had the concealed carry. I had all that. So it was all fun. I had the close quarter combat certification. I mean, I had all. It was fun. I had a blast. He had a friend that had an actual house that shot the little. They're like paintballs, but I think they're like sim rounds. Dude, them things leave whelps on you like a paintball. But I tell you what, they could load them up, and them things you could go in there and. It was. Get your blood pumping on them things. And he was so good at it. He knew the maze, he knew the place, and he would go there ahead of everybody and sit in a perch. And man, it wouldn't be long before we'd be boom, hitting us in the head. You'd have headgear on. So he was just picking us off. And I was like, dude, this ain't paintball. We're supposed to be practicing clearing rooms, and he'd be like, pow, 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 pow. And I was like, you can't say nothing to him because I was there for free. So anyway.
Right.
So,
You're free target practice for him. Have you ever got hit in the neck with one of those
I have
darn
been
things?
hit. No, I've been hitting the net with a paintball.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. With the paintball right in the neck, and like within 20 feet away, 30 feet, it just hits you, and you're just like, oh, that stuff. Like there's certain areas of the body when you get hit with those paintballs, it just stings. And I think the neck was probably one of the
Yeah.
worst spots. That and like kind of on the right on the back of your leg, on the back side of it.
No,
Oh,
it can't. It could never hurt more than get hit in the groin with a paintball. I'm just saying that's got to be the worst if you did, because I've been there, done that, and the pain lingered on.
I never been hit in the groin with a paintball.
I was hitting the groin with a paintball right between the hanging friends, and it literally, I was like, I was like I was gonna throw up or something, so I had to sit out. But yeah, that was me. I was like, dude, either your aim is real bad, and he looked at me, he goes, it's not. Oh, I was like, dude, you're aiming there. Anyway, so it's all right. He's okay.
Man, looks like you got a journeymans in the house, a lot of masters, a lot of people that are going to be contracts. I think this show is going to really benefit everybody in here. So I'm excited to get to the topic tonight.
All right, so let's get into this. So whether you're in 2022, whether it's your first company, whether you just started, whether or not you're maybe you're the guy or gal, I should say, because we have a lot of gals that are attending this stuff, Jay. So, and they're just strapping on the tools. And if you're the person who's got to raise the money for the company as well, because everybody that works for companies should have that mentality. The moment you go to work, you're working for that company. That's one of the mentalities that I'd love to see change in this industry. Is once you clock in, you need to singularly think just like the company. Every move you make, everything you do should be in line with the company's policies, the company's image, what the company wants to do. You do what you want after hours, right? As long as you're not getting in trouble and it's going to bring the company down. But during work, you're 100% on. So that also has to do with marketing and how you portray yourself to the customer, or if you're in an area, how you do some extra marketing, right? So let's talk about it. Start off. So let's do it from a perspective, Jay. Whereas in 2022, I'm a starving electrician, or I'm a starving electrical contractor. I need to start making money. What are some of the tips that we can give them that will? They're not going to be totally free, right? So, but they are going to mean you're going to put them some sweat equity in it, because you got to. Or if you've got people you got to pay, you got mouths to feed. Usually they're the ones that get fed before you do. When you own the business, you always worry about paying everybody else. I used to hear this old saying, Jay. People will tell you that never owned a business before. They'll tell you that you got to pay yourself first. And what does an accountant always say? Well, you got to pay yourself first. Obviously, they've never been into business for themselves.
Yeah.
Because you got to pay everybody else in your bills before you can pay yourself, right?
That's right. I don't think I paid myself until 3 years after I started, and we finally got a CNA?
Yeah, CPA.
Yeah, or CPA. Sorry, CPA. Yes. Yeah,
yep.
CPA.
I was gonna say, if you needed a CNA, that's a certified nursing assistant or aide. I'm sure you're not there yet.
No, you'll be there before I am.
That's true.
But so we'll be looking at the CPA. Once we got a CPA, and a good friend through the church of ours, my good buddy Pat, he referred us to Ron, and we've been dealing with him for the last 4 years. But he was like the first, and Jalissa's first conversation with him was like in October of, I don't know, 2018 or whatever. And he goes, does he pay himself? He goes, no, he doesn't. And I know we'll get to the topic, guys, but he goes, we need to make sure he pays himself this year. So he goes, keep him at $50,000 salary. So right before all the taxes, all that stuff came in. I don't know how it all works out. I'm not in that department, but getting his feedback allowed us to realize that I needed to pay myself, and we're at that point. But to the topic that we're going on tonight, the starving electrical contractor. I think when
Aaron's got a bolt early. Thank you, Aaron. Again, another donation. Appreciate you. So
Have a good night.
thank you again. Thank you certainly for joining us and always motivating it and sharing. So thank you very much, Aaron. Again, non-electrician, but it's very involved. So again, there's something here for everybody. It's not it might be the Jay and Paul comedy show, but again, I'm, not, Jay's not that funny. So anyway, where were we at?
Well, I'm saying when you think about the starving electrical contractor, a lot of you guys out there are journeymans, wiremans, soon to be masters, or maybe you're masters and you don't have your contractor's license yet. I don't think you go in with the mentality of, oh, I'm gonna go in and hire a bunch of guys. I think you go in to fill your schedule, because it's easier to fill a single person's schedule and kind of build your reputation and your clientele, your projects, based on just what you have to do. So what I mean is if I'm going as an electrical contractor, I guess the first question I would ask myself is, do I want to do service? Am I going to try to do residential? Am I set up for commercial? What fits the niche that I have? Did I come from a company that did a lot of solar? Am I trying to do solar now? Am I doing upgrades on maybe apartment exterior fixtures, parking lot lights? Like,
I think most people, Jay, start out, they're going to start residentially because you need less to start residentially, whether it's service work or something, wiring houses or getting a house, or maybe somebody gets a house or two and it leads to another one, something like that. Okay. But that's usually where people start. I don't know very many people that can get a jump into something commercial or even light commercial unless they are working for somebody and somebody comes along and says, you know what, hey, I got a lot of work coming. Leave where you're at and start your own company. I'll feed you. So I'll feed you to get started. And that has happened before. And that is always the worry for a company who trains their staff, and they get their staff and they get to a certain level. They could leave you, and you always got to make sure they're not poaching your work. You have to remember that I gave you this opportunity. Don't stab me in the back. That type of scenario. But
what's the old saying? Money talks. If the guy comes to you and says, hey, the contractor you're working for is only paying you, $50 an hour, and you do these with your eyes closed. I don't know, let's say Arby's or Starbucks, something, a little chain like that. They go, hey, I'll pay you and one other guy. Instead of paying 4 guys, I'll pay you and one other guy, and I'll double your pay, and you come with me, and see how fast that loyalty turns off. But you're right. Is it common that people get into commercial? Probably not unless you have an investor with you and you're going in with somebody who can, help you fund that project. Because when I've been in residential, the nice thing about that is projects only last maybe a few days. Maybe they only last a day. Maybe they only last a few hours. And depending on how you set it up, you're getting paid right then and there. So
yeah, I'm a finality kind of guy. I like to get in and get it out. We like the residential, get in and out. We did the commercial, but when we did anything bigger, it just drug on for long. But anyway, we're getting off topic. We're famous for that. So, starving electrician. So, if I'm starting out, actually not off topic because you're kind of talking about where we roll into this, but if I'm starting my electrical company in 2022, or I'm a business that needs to expand, if you're already in business, one of the thoughts, first of all, has to be up front. What is my marketing budget for the year? Okay, you can't piecemeal this and go through the year and say, I'll spend a little here and there, because ultimately that's what your marketing will look like. You have to determine what part of you're going to spend on marketing, whether it's grassroots marketing, right? Or it's hiring a marketing company, or some type of ads somewhere or whatever. You got to know what you're willing to spend, right? That type of thing. Yeah. So one of the first things that I always tell people, and you've heard us say this before in previous episodes, if you're just getting in, some of the quickest work for somebody that's starting to come in a contractor, one of the easiest ways first is to get your flyers, get your door hangers made by Vistaprint. It's cheap. You can get the kind that look like a door hanger that hang on the door. Make sure you take advantage of both sides. Print on there, have the bottom be like a business card. One side talk about, in target neighborhoods that are at least 10 years old to start. So kind of, you can do it from any Google Maps or anything. You look at areas and try to target homes at areas that look like they're established, right? And start canvassing that neighborhood, putting up these flyers. They're the ones that are going to have things that need to be done. If you're wanting some of the little work, if you're like, I don't want to do that to get started, I don't want the little, neighborhood thing. Okay, well, it's going to cost you more. Now you could go and find where the construction is, ride around through the construction, take a Vista print again, get a nice business cards, right? And start hitting those areas. And again, you might run into somebody that's already doing their work, but you can't let that deter you. You try to find out who's the general contractor. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Again, you're only going to get something if you ask for it. So you're going to have to ask, and who's the general? Who do I contact for the general? Also, a lot of times these projects will have an office or something there. If it's a big subdivision, or depending on where you're at, they'll have an office in theirs where they'll keep, maybe drawings or keep something. So you can visit that as well and ask to speak with the GC or somebody, the owner or somebody like that, and not try to take anybody's business. I mean, you're just like, here's my card. I understand if you got somebody at some point, they might not be able to keep up, or you need some additional help. I just want you to know I'm here. And I'm willing to step up, because you never know, when they falter, you can move right into that space. So there's still I think some loyalty out there, but it's waning quickly. So
the Vista print that you speak about, especially on like door flyers or little pamphlets, the nice thing is with Vista print, they have over 1,000 templates that you can choose from, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, said you on the front side, maybe a picture of yourself, a picture of your business, your logo, fill it up with kind of the work that you've already done or what you're about. And then on the back side, give all your information, your website, your email address, your contact, anything like that. But then what's nice about that is if you're going to target an area, you can target service upgrades if that's what you want to do. You can target service work if that's what you're trying to do, and show pictures of, before and after pictures maybe on there of some work you've done. You can target remodel. It's just whatever you're going to target, know that you also will get callbacks from other areas. So maybe it is service upgrades that you're going to do. Expect to get calls on service calls as well. Like, hey, my garage isn't working anymore. My garage door doesn't go up and down. Can you come out and look at it? And I think when you're starting a business, you have that time. You can fill those kind of projects. I'm at the point now where I'm not able to fill projects like that anymore. It actually hurts the company more if I send a guy out to do a 2-hour call, unless I go do it myself.
You're not a starving electrician anymore, or a starving electrical contractor, but you're an evolving electrical contractor, because one of your missions in 2022 was to become leaner and step back in order to grow. So you're looking at all of your processes and how can we change my process? And so again, same scenario, you did a reevaluation. With how you're going to do things moving forward. But marketing, you need to know, again, what your budget is. And if you've got what's called a frugal budget, and when I started out, I had a frugal budget. The flyers and hitting neighborhoods and hanging them helped, because the phone did start ringing. And you might say, well, how much could you make on a service? Well, routinely, a couple hour service, they're making $400, $500, $600 per call. And, and so, I mean, and that's nothing to sneeze at.
Did that service call eventually turn into more work, right? Because you're there to fix maybe an issue at that moment, but then they go, oh man, you know what, Paul, you did such a great job.
You become their guy.
You're their guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You say, okay,
And then they
let's
tell
walk.
somebody. How often does that
Oh,
happen?
oh, all the time. I mean, I probably have, and again, obviously, I've been doing this for quite a while, but like you said, I was that starving electrician to the point where I provided top shelf customer service. Did I have issues? Of course, I had issues. Were there stuff wrong with homes that I had to go back and fix a couple times? Of course, these are older homes that you have to do. But at the end of the day, I always try to keep a professional, an attitude and know that
Absolutely.
these guys are who are paying my bills. And I would just get called back. Now or throughout the years, I've had more word of mouth people hit me up than actual contractors or anybody else because of my flyers or my vans. I get a lot more word of mouth now. So yeah, it goes a long ways.
Yeah, so this is one of the important things about whether you're marketing, whether you're going to put Craigslist ads, which I encourage you to do, whatever's free, put them out there. One
Well,
thing I
there-
always also tell you to do is do not skip doing the things like the Google business and the Bing business. Most people know I don't do any calls anymore. Even here in Texas, I stopped that. Probably what was that 6 months ago? Was the last one I said I'm not even me not doing anything anymore like that. So, but my phone keeps ringing because of these Google they didn't cost you nothing, and you just go in and put them in. So you want to make sure you're in the Bing business, Google business, because it shows up and it does work. So that gets you as well. But here's one of the things I will tell you: every electrical contractor, I'm not gonna say electrician, but every electrical contractor, you're not leveraging yourself if you don't have a website. Whether it's a single page with your name and number, the difference is it costs me per word to run advertising places. It doesn't cost as much for me to put a URL in there and put that in there and try to get people there. And once I've got them at that web page, I've got a captured audience to be able to tell them what my services are and what I can do for them. Right? We call those the funnel page. And you're trying to get them to remember that and keeping it simple, stupid when it comes to for electrical, keep it simple, right? Don't be complicated like my websites. Keep it simple. And you'd be surprised, and it allows you to be able to not have to provide as much information, but you get somebody to come to a location where they're now a captured audience, and then you can feed them the information that's necessary. Yeah, Yelp is great too. You should do Yelp. I'm not much on this Angie List and House Call Pros and all those type of things because that's gimmicky to me. They're just simply shopping you out to multiple people. There's no guarantee you're going to get the job. Plus, you got to pay for it anyway. So I'm not a big fan of those. But Yelp does fine. I get quite a few calls from the Yelp. So make sure you have the Yelp on your phone and that you have your ad running. And also spend the time to do it right. Don't do it halfway. You do it and you leave things blank. You think, I'm just going to do it real quick. When you're going to put yourself in the Google business or the Bing business, or you're going to do those things like the Yelps, make sure you're ready. Make sure you have your logo, right? Make sure you have a little blurb you want to put about your company. Make sure that you know that you're going to put your hours of operation in there. Just don't sit. The biggest thing I see people do is they halfway do it. Do it right. Get it right. Don't stick the finger in too many fires. Do it right before you move on to the next one. Right. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I also think if you and I'm kind of speaking to myself here, is when you do all these social media platforms, all these Yelps, Googles, Thumbtacks, Angie's List, whatever you guys are using out there, update it too, right? Every
yeah,
year, 6 months, try to update it, try to refresh it, kind of get what you're needing out of it because the programs also update too. Like Angie's List, probably if you don't respond to anything in 6 months or a year and then you go back to update it, maybe they have a different platform for the pros in your areas where you can get maybe
sure.
some discounts or whatever. And I've heard you talk about Home Depot
Yeah, we're
as a
going to
way
talk about that.
you'll put cards in there too. But I mean, there's just when you're doing these social media platforms, and again, I'm talking to myself here, is you have to update them. I haven't had the time nor the reason because again, I'm not that starving electrician anymore. Believe me, I'm hungry for money.
And we all like the money.
Oh, you know that, but I'm not at that point where it was just me. I'm not at that point where I could go do 3 to 4, maybe 6 service calls a day and walk away and go, man, that was one heck of a day. And then the next day, maybe you're only working a half a day. I have,
Well, you know what people say, Jay? Money doesn't buy happiness. Well, let me ask you how you feel when you're broke.
I haven't been broke in a while, man. So
Yep.
I'm be honest
I
with
tell
you.
people,
No.
they say money doesn't buy happiness. Tell me how you feel when you're broke
Yeah.
and not very happy. Okay. So a rich person is miserable whether they're rich or not. So money doesn't buy happiness, but tell me how you feel when you're broke. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you very happy? Probably not. Okay. So, yeah. So Home Depot parking lot. And I told the story before in Lowe's and Home Depot. Every time I go, I always made sure that I stuck my business card in the little, right above the door handle in the little, gasket, whatever that goes against the window. I'd slide it down there so they see it right there above where they pull the handle. I would do 1 or 2 cars as I'm going into Home Depot or Lowe's. I would do that. I just put it on there. I used to also, I told you I used to do this. I used to do this Costco too. I go down the luminaire aisle and when nobody's looking, I would slide my business cards inside the boxes because it would be the tape on it, but it wouldn't have any on the sides. Yeah. And that's when they're going to open it up. And that's the first thing that would fall out. Because you know what? Some of those luminaires, I can look at it and go, that homeowner, they ain't not going to get that. They're going to have problems with that. So I slide that in. I always did that with ceiling fans, Never had any problem. Nobody ever came and never got a call back from anybody saying, dude, are you the one slipping these things in there? But, if you're hungry, however you can get your name out. The other thing is, if you do buy your supplies from Home Depot, is to make sure you join their Home Depot Pros thing and give them your insurance, sign up for that. Because you know what? I remember when I first came out here and I was thinking, well, do I need, I was doing the academy and Encore and everything. I was like, well, I would do some, I'm still an electrician at heart and still get around fine. And I was like, I'm going to do some work. And I was doing Home Depot, some supply, although we have a local supply house, but I got a lot of my stuff from Home Depot. And I got in that program and it didn't take me long after buying some things like some ladders and other things that I need, that I've generated these points. And then I joined their program. And the next thing you know, I was getting calls and I was doing, so I'd go and somebody call me, they'd buy a Home Depot ceiling fan and they'd call me to hang it. And I'd go out and hang it. I'd get, I was only out there. It takes about 45 minutes to an hour to hang a good ceiling fan. You still got to put the thing together. And, hoping that the box where it's going is actually rated for it. Right. I'm just saying. Otherwise, that's good.
I have to even tell the customer to put it together while I'm heading over there.
No, I don't want them touching it.
If they felt like they could do it,
Mm-hmm.
That's just if you wanted to. Again, some people like yourself, so you don't want them touching. I want to do the whole thing. Heck, man, I want to get in there, slap that bad boy up, connect the proper wires, and turn it on. Set that remote, and there's $250.
Yeah.
But that's a good point that you make for guys like John. He says good idea. Again, as long as you're meeting your state requirements for having whatever it takes to work on side jobs, or people call them weekend work, whatever, a work outside of the company you work for. These are great tips too, just to get extra funds. When we say starving electrician, it isn't just the contractor themselves. This could be electricians who want to do side jobs. As long as you meet all your state requirements and you have everything, this could be side job work for you too. And what better way than to go to Home Depot like you? Maybe you're getting parts and material there. Now you're getting the material you need for one job, and you're taking the extra 15 minutes going, oh, here's a take a stack.
Yeah, but you're generating those points where they're going to send you more calls. And so it just, Lowe's doesn't have anything like that. Lowe's has a Lowe's for pros, and you do it with them and you get on their list, but they're really difficult to get on. That's difficult to do anything. And if you start to get really busy, then those little calls can be annoying. Same with the Home Depot one. You're like, dude, once you start getting busy and you're not hungry anymore, then you're like, I don't got time for that ceiling fan. you know, but, and it says three wire nuts for 250. Boom. I don't know any ceiling fan that I've ever walked in and just done 3 wire nuts and got 250. Boom. My luck is I walk into them and the damn box isn't rated for a ceiling fan, and now I gotta put in a box for a ceiling fan. I wish it was 3 wire nuts and 250. Boom. I guess it could happen. It just seems that, and there is people out there, Jay. There is people out there. I hope y'all aren't this person. You ready? That will walk in. That will walk into the job, notice the luminaire's there. They want a ceiling fan hung there, and you go up and you go to that plastic box and you go, it seems pretty snug. And then you put the ceiling fan up and walk away. No, Don't be that guy.
I'm not that guy.
Don't be that guy, because there are a lot of those guys.
I'll at least put some 1032 text.
Yeah, you at least you'll shoot some sheetrock screws to the side of the plastic. I know you.
Did I ever tell you
y'all use boxes?
Did I ever tell you the story where I was doing my my first month of residential work, and I put in the ceiling fan boxes, right? The bracket box. The bracket box. Mm-hmm. And I threw away the screws that came with it, and I put drywall screws in it, and I failed. The inspector goes, you know, and I'm sitting there because I'm the first month electrician. I'm on every inspection. I want to learn how to get in good with these guys. Maybe brown nose a little bit. And the guy looks up and he goes, "Are those the screws that came with that thing?" I said, "Shoot, I don't know."
Yeah.
Yeah. He goes,
"Yeah."
Rated, right? And I go, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, you need to go and get the screws that come with them." And he just schools me on this whole trip about how I have to use those certain screws, and it makes sense now, you know. And of course, it comes with it. It usually comes with like a 1/2-inch grommet too that you put in one of the 1/2-inch knockouts for your cable to go through. So it was just like it was just a dummy part of me going, "Oh, I don't have that 5/16 hex head bit on me, but I do have a Phillips, and drywall screws go in a lot easier. Wood screws in these actual tech screws." You know, I'm thinking of simplicity purposes, and he goes, "Fail," and I'm go, "Oh." That's
same thing. People use the sheetrock screws, drywall screws for holding a receptacle on when they ain't got nothing there and it's stripped out and they can't get the 632 won't catch, so they end up saying, "Well, I just put a sheetrock screw on it. Nobody will know. It'll bite into it. It'll be good." You know, you know, people ask me with that. I say, "What's your quick fix for screws that are stripped out?" My quick fix was always a tube of super glue. I can take super glue and squeeze it in that hole, and it'll get hard, and then I can put and I can take in a screw, actually get to it. And actually, when it does that, even a 632 will penetrate it and create its own grooves in it. So, you know, it's one of the things that we used to do. Anything that would do it, because I mean, if it was existing, it was a service call, it was there. What am I going to do? So we'd do that. But that was back in the day.
That makes sense. I would always try to just use like maybe a larger size, like an 832 if I had it, you know.
Could have done
that. Again, certain different ways, replace the box set.
Yeah, many cases we would do that. Absolutely.
Sometimes you have to. I mean, sometimes you have to. And what sucks is if it's a 4-square and it's a P-ring, and then you gotta remove that whole section out of there. You know, that's happened to me once too, where the screw parts on the single gang P-ring stripped out, and I couldn't, you know, I lost any integrity to it, so I had to take out the whole stinking P-ring and another one in, and you go back and you get those jumbo cover plates from Home Depot, and they still wouldn't cover the darn drywall repair. So again, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But
Schwartzy, thank you very much for the super chat again. Thank you, Schwartz.
So that's cool.
Yeah,
that's some good tips.
So hungry, try to, you know, do it this. So those are some of the easy ways to at least start getting it. The other thing to think about is in your local area, do yourself, okay, you got to have a budget. Okay, we established that you need to know what you're willing to spend. Otherwise, you plan on shoestringing yourself through the end of the year, and that's how your business is going to be throughout the year. You're going to be shoestringing it, barely making it. You have to commit. I know that sometimes that's hard to do with the money, but you got to commit. So another thing is search and see if you have a B&I group in your area, Business Networking International. They may or may not have an electrician in a local group. It can be costly. You do have to go every week. You do have to go for the, for the luncheon or whatever. But you get to pass your card out. But you do develop a network. So when I was back in back in Virginia, I actually was in a BNI group, and it actually did pretty well. It bought me quite a bit of business because you basically had a room of other people. As long as you clicked, right? If you were different, then it wouldn't,
Yeah,
you
because
wouldn't.
these people are referring you. Isn't it all about like it's a referral based kind of system?
Well, the concept of it is, and it's obviously Seth had a bad experience in it, but again, it's all in every chapter is different. It's all how you work it. So again, it's called giver's gain. And so the more you're willing to refer other people, they're willing to refer you. Okay. So that type of thing. So it's different everywhere. For me, I had a great experience with it. Sure. Everybody else, it is. But again, we always have to remember, Seth, your time suck is not somebody else's time suck. It's only a time suck to you. Maybe you didn't work it right. Maybe you didn't understand truly how the process works. Maybe you didn't understand how to get close to the right people that are into BNI. I knew right away when I went in who I had to target. In other words, it didn't take me but a couple meetings to see who the key players were in the room. And I was scoping the key player. I mean, I was watching, looking and seeing who do they call on the most, who talks the most, who seems to be giving the most referrals. And I asked them, I said, I need a one-on-one with you and let's go to lunch. And I nurtured a relationship. That dude, which in my group, he since died, he got cancer. But when I was back there, my guy, he was a carpet guy, clean carpets. And he had a huge carpet cleaning business. So he was in so many houses all the time where he saw problems. And he would say to the owner, because you got that relationship, dude, he was my walk-in business card. He would go, you need to set luminaire right there, or that fan or whatever like that. He'd go, you need to get that fixed. Oh, you see that receptacle? You need to get that fixed. You know what? I was just in here. You got other problems. Here's a card of a guy I know. He'll take care of you. I know him personally. Dude, I was in like Flint. And so you got to milk it. And so that's the thing I tell people. When I get into groups like that, I only have one objective. I'm not there to be anybody's generally friend. I'm there to scope the room and see who's going to benefit me. I'm very selfish about that when it comes to that. And at BNI, I was looking at how do I benefit me? And who here is going to work the hardest for me? Right? And so that's how I did it. That's how I did it. So everybody's different, and it works for some people. Some people, it's a huge time suck. Absolutely. It does take up a lot of time, but it is one way to do it. Now, you can network yourself. We've talked about this before, Jay. You can do your own networking by trying to look in the book and try to find comparable contractors that are obviously not in your skill set, and trying to have a lunch with them, trying to have a meeting with them. Find somebody that you know or heard of that you know is a really good plumber or mechanical guy or whatever. Try to get in contact with them. In fact, if you know a plumbing contractor or a mechanical contractor or a builder, call them up and say, I'd love to have a cup of coffee with you. I'd love to meet with you. I'm an electrical contractor. I know you might, I'm not trying to sell you anything, but I just love to talk to you. You'd be surprised that they'd want to talk to you. Okay. So
yeah, be like, listen, man, I know
can't be shy.
I know you guys are under me, but let's just help each other out. Obviously
I know y'all are below me or beneath me, but as an electrician, but I'd like a little bit of your time.
Right. So you can pay for my coffee and I'll pitch what I got to pitch, right? No.
That's right. That's exactly right.
I would, I think I told you this before, but when I was first starting off, and I think someone in the chat said it too, is I'd go to hot tub companies, spa companies. I'd get in with these guys and I would leave like 50 cards with them right on their front counter, right where the receptionist is. Because a lot of times the people that are working for the hot tub company aren't certified electricians, nor do they want to even touch that stuff. And so, a person comes in, says, hey, I want this hot tub and I want it delivered at this time. Hey, do you do the electrical? And they, no, we don't do the electrical. Well, do you do you have anybody that you can refer out to?
Mm-hmm.
And there's your card right there. Take one of
Oh,
these. Yeah, get hold of Jay
that's
with
a
Wired Up, and
that's an
he'll take
that's
care of you.
another great example, Jay, is that if I'm doing it today, if I'm the starving electrician in 2022, starving electric contractor, I get the business cards, Vistaprint, whatever, get it cheap. And it is nothing better than a business card to be able to put in somebody's hand. Okay. People say that's old school. We have the electronics. BS. A business card in the hand. And I tell you what, buddy, if I was doing it today, I would be going to property maintenance companies. I'd be going to real estate companies. I'd be hitting all these people that come in contact with homes and that come in contact with buyers.
You're referring to like service. If you're wanting to do like service calls or like get in there and do fixture upgrades.
Dude, it's all money for me. I recess slides, adding receptacles. I did a big business back in Virginia on what we call fresh ups. Whereas I did for the real estate agents where we would come in and they're trying to sell a house out. Well, a lot of times they're dated. And walls are walls, doors are doors. Throw some paint on it. But if the fixtures, the luminaires look like garbage, and all of the switches are yellowing or living, everything, the cracked face plates and everything, dude, I'd do a fresh up where I'd come in and say, look, we'll change all these to Decora, right? I'll change all these to Decora for you, and put nice covers on these things and upgrade all your luminaires, that type of thing. Give them the option to do that. It's, why not? It's just to be able to, I did fairly decent with that, and it kept me during some of the slow months. People wanted to fresh it up, that type of thing.
I think you could actually, if you wanted to, kind of like what you were saying with those Vistaprint door hangers or pamphlets, you could probably come up with a package deal. You could say, hey guys, I have a bronze, a silver, and a gold package deal.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the bronze consists of just the standard duplex receptacles with maybe the toggle switches, just kind of the lower grade devices. Again, maybe this home doesn't have much of a budget. You say, hey, what's your budget? Okay, the mid grade one is maybe standard receptacles and Decora switches, the rocker style, and then maybe the gold one is Decora receptacles and Decora switches. So you can play with it and kind of have some fun with it, and just know that you're hitting your budgets. You're going in and you're helping a house get sold, and you're on these guys' good side. And what better way than to do like what you said, like a turnkey type of installation, right? I'm going to come in. You guys don't have to worry about anything. I'm going to put GFIs in the areas they need to look at. You're kind of inspecting the home also, and give them that reassurance that you're bringing it up to the minimum safety standard. I don't know if it's all going to code properly wise, because we don't know what's inside the wall. But yeah, exactly, it's existing. But you are going to put maybe GFIs on the countertop, maybe in the garage, in the back. You know what I'm talking about, and just
we're gonna make it safe. We're gonna make it safe.
I could see you guys make. I could see some, especially
and
a single
I can see that. I can see that. I can see that being the package, and I can see a diamond package where you offer a smart house upgrade. In other words, because now you can get them cheap. So in all the switches, I get all of the Wi-Fi switches. Okay, you can get the Alexa devices. She's going to start.
Yeah, no, don't be talking like that.
She's waiting over there to go. You could offer a package like that to a house, dude. I'm telling you what, people go buying houses, they get excited when they say, when a real estate agent says, oh, and we've upgraded this home to be smart. These switches and everything interacts, changes, colors, dude, they will eat that stuff up if you market it right, because it helps them say, oh, hey, look, a real estate agent, they're only after one thing. They want to sell that home for the biggest commission as quick as possible. And anything that you can do that can help do that, I'm just saying.
Yeah. I always thought there were some cool features in fix and flips and homes that are getting sold that people would want, like, I'm kind of getting off topic, but maybe one would be like heated floors in a bathroom. Like that would be just such a cool feature to have, that anybody that walks in there, it's like, hey, take off your shoes, step on the floor. Ooh, yeah, that's warm, And it's like, yeah, it's always like that. Even in the winter, summer, whenever you want it, it stays up to that temperature, you know. And I always thought that was cool. Like under cab lighting, I always thought under cab lighting was a cool feature where maybe you want to come down to the kitchen at midnight and get a bowl of ice cream. You don't want to turn on all the freaking LED
Mm-hmm.
can lights in there. You just hit that
Mm-hmm.
one. Hey Alexa, turn on under cab lights. Doo, you know, and then all of a sudden your under cab lights come on. It's like,
You
yeah,
know, I have all
that's
that right here. My everything's connected to her. We'll say her
yeah.
here.
Don't say your name.
She turns on my lights in the kitchen, the lights going up the steps, the lights in the hallway. Every morning I wake up and I say,
Yeah.
what's my daily flash briefing? And she will give me my daily flash briefing of what's going on in the news while I'm getting dressed and that type of thing. So I am in it, right? And so obviously we were talking today, I've got my Wi-Fi update. Everything is fiber optic now. And I mean, I'm in that techie stuff. All my switches everywhere are all connected to everything. So, I mean, it all connected to the whole network. So, and it all connects to a smart hub, which again, I use her as the hub for everything. And it's just neat. And you can, if you package it right, and there's people doing it already. This is not a novel idea. You know, they're already doing it, but you could put together a package. I mean, if you're hungry, Vistaprint's so cheap, but the quality is so good that, you know, just give it a shot. Only imagination is the only limitation.
I think when you're hungry, you have to you're putting the footwork and that in your hands. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're down an hour between service calls, what are you doing for that hour? Are you on
Mm-hmm.
social media just hanging out, you know, trying to get caught up on your social media platforms and I mean on like personal level, or are you making calls to people that you took a picture of their phone number, a GC's phone number in a Home Depot parking lot, and now you got the time to call him? You know,
Mm-hmm.
hey bud, just let you know this is Jay with Wired Up. I'm an electrical contractor, licensed and insured. I seen your truck out here at Home Depot, and one of your project managers told me to give you guys a call, you know,
Mm-hmm.
or something like that, you know. Oh yeah, man, you know what? We actually need another electrician, you know. Okay, well, hey, I'm gonna text you over my information, or do you have an email address I can send some of my stuff for? Yeah, I do. You know, write down their email address. Then all of a sudden now you have that contact, and it took you 5 minutes to reach out to them. You know, so what are you doing in your downtime? And a lot of times I would be browsing. I'd be searching Craigslist. I'd be searching Thumbtack. Again, this was years ago when it was free. I was calling people. I was cold calling people. I was going to the hot tub places. I was going to businesses, handing out my cards, you know, my business cards. So there's just ways that you can do it if you are hungry enough. If you think that the work's just gonna come to you in the first couple years, then it's not gonna happen. You're
So,
not gonna be successful, I don't think.
so I tell people this, think about it. I live in a neighborhood. There is 150 homes in this neighborhood. It won't take that long to canvass this neighborhood. Their homes are close. Hang in the flyer. You have now reached 150 people. If any one of those people call you, these people are all connected on Nextdoor. So Nextdoor in my neighborhood, for example. So every one person you get, you do a good job for them. You're prompt, you're quick, you're fair, you answer their questions, you look good, you look professional because everybody's leery now, right? They all have the rings. They're always monitoring who's at the door, you know. You look professional, you carry. That's why we always talk about looking the part. All right, it's not a cliche. You today, you got to look the part. Okay, so you go do it. That one person's going to tell somebody. That person's going to tell somebody. The word of mouth will spread. So you can invest in flyers in a little bit of your time. Make a week of your time where you're devoted to your business, and you say, okay, you know what I'm going to do this week? And if I'm starting, I'm hungry, I'm starving, I don't have a lot of work. I'm going to target this neighborhood or this area. Get a map, look at the area, target it off until you color it in until you get the whole area and say, I'm going to go park right here at the beginning of this subject. You know, work a little bit. And people want things too easy these days. So they don't want to. I had somebody tell me that they got offered a $12 job and the guy said, I'm not going to do it. I'm worth more than that. I said, do you have a job? He goes, no, but I'm not going to take that job because I'm worth more than $12. I said, what the hell are you doing? You're making nothing now. Why not take the job that you make $12, right? And at least you're making some money while you're looking for something else. Now, Alfonso says, how do you calculate the cost? Calculate what cost? Because everything that you start with marketing is going to cost you money. Nothing's free. So if I'm going to do a deal where I'm going to do the flyers and it's going to cost me $1,000, I'm just throwing numbers. I don't know. It's not that much, but I'm just throwing numbers. Then what I have to do is at that point, I have to invest in those. Thank you, Seth. And so I'm going to target the areas that are in my target zone that are going to potentially give me work, right? New homes, you're not going to get any work unless they're new homes with unfinished basements, a la Basement King, who could target that area. So I could target those areas and subdivisions, and I would make sure I'd spend a week putting my time in it, because people say, well, time is money. Well, when you're your own boss or you're a starving electrician, you got nothing but time. Be constructive with it. And, realistically, I'm talking more like not 1,000. That's just a round number. I'm talking, I haven't looked at Vistaprint, Jay, but I would venture to say what we used to spend on them with deals they have. You could probably, for $250, $249, you probably get 1,000 or something like that. So at the end of the day, it's only thing that you have invested is your time. And again, the upside is you've got these little ads running all through a neighborhood, right? So it's, to me, it's a no-brainer. If you're hungry and you're trying to get some work, definitely.
And maybe, Alonzo, maybe your budget is just $100, right? Maybe it's $100 and you go to Vistaprint and the only thing you can get for $100 is business cards. That's a good start, right?
Mm-hmm.
You dial up a business card on one of their templates, throw your name on there, your contact information, your freshly new email address, because you want to separate it probably from your personal. You want to have a business one that relates to whatever theme you're going with. Have maybe a picture of a tool belt, whatever on there. You know what I mean? Keep it simple. Get that $100 worth of cards. Do what Paul was saying. Go to Home Depot. Hand them out inside little ceiling fan boxes. Well, not hand them out. Push them in the ceiling fan boxes. Hand them out to customers. Put them on GC's windows, or whatever you're doing. Go to door business, or not really house. You could go house if you wanted to. With the business cards, it's a little hard because you don't want to open someone's mailbox. But maybe you find ways to get these things out, and then you get some hits on those. You make a little bit of money, and you go back in and you do your second round, and you go, okay,
Yeah.
now I got $250 to spend this month. Okay, now I'm going to do the same $100 business cards because those worked, and I got $150 to invest in flyers or pens or whatever it is. You know what I mean? And you invest in that, and you let that go. So you're just taking it step by step. You're not going to get on Vistaprint and put thousands of dollars worth of advertisements when you don't even got the money to pay your rent. You're going to take it step by step. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's why I say it's important to know what your budget is. And I think, Jay, is one of those things like people do for gambling, right? So this is a certain amount, and I'm going to spend. When I make it back, I'm going to replenish that amount because that was successful. And anything I make over that, I made. But then I have to reevaluate the amount that I'm investing to see if I want to go. Maybe I just started out with business. Now I'm going to move up the flyers. Now I'm going to move up the door hangers. Okay, you can get the pre-cut door hangers and you can design them right on there. So you can grow it, but you gotta crawl, but you gotta start somewhere, and that's the way to do it. Now I think Alonzo is talking more about how do you know what prices to charge for customers. Now we've talked about that before.
How much are you worth? How much do you need to make? You know, we talked about this daily. If you need to pull in $500 a day to make it, then and you have a few calls, maybe your price switches a little bit. Maybe you do an hourly price, knowing that, okay, if I charge this much an hour and I get 6 to 8 hours, I'm going to be within my budget. So I have to charge $75 an hour for myself. Or maybe you go, okay, I got 2 jobs. I got to make 500. They're both ceiling fans. There's 2 different ones. I'm going to charge $250 each. So again, it doesn't mean that you have to have a certain price for every single job every single day. When you're just off. Sometimes you might charge more than the next guy, but guess what? You're there. You're available. There's a certain fee that you want to factor in just by being Johnny on the spot. You know what I mean? And because call around, see how many people are going to put in a ceiling fan right now, or see how many people are going to go troubleshoot that circuit. Maybe you say, okay, I'm worth $100 trip charge, 75 an hour, normal, but maybe this one is a service same day right now. So I'm going to charge, instead of $100, I'm going to charge $200.
Right.
You know, so you get to kind of establish that and see what's going
Now,
on. So
now I used to use, and we talked about this, I used flat rate pricing. So I already knew what my burdens were, what my overhead was. I knew what I had to have, and it broke down to the hour. So then when I broke it down and said it, I said, well, how do I take this and translate this into piecemeal so that if it wasn't me doing it, if it was somebody that worked for me doing it, I kind of knew what I was going to make on each thing. So for example, if it was to hang a ceiling fan, and that type of thing, it would be in 3 different levels. And I think Mr. Sparky does the same scenario. And it was, if I'm going into it, I had like if it was for a ceiling fan, it would be like $175 for a ceiling fan. And okay, and so that was my fee for that. And if it needed a ceiling box, that would be a level 2, right? And if it didn't have a cable running up to it or something like this, and it'd be level 3. So you'll come up with your different levels, but you need to know how long it takes you to do your general tasks and be realistic that you might be the quickest in the world and the guy that worked for you might be the slowest in the world. So you're going to have to come up with a happy medium, right? Or you're going to have this floating pricing where well, Jimmy's going to do it and Jimmy's a little slower than Johnny. So, that type of thing. So again, everything is relevant. My price is not going to be the same as your price, but you need to know what you've got to make to be successful. Yep. And then you can break it down.
You have to know. And that's going to base sometimes on whether or not you're working on the weekends or not. Crap, I didn't hit my $750 I need to make for the week. I only hit $600. Well, guess what? You got $150 that you got to make up between Saturday and Sunday. Somehow, some way. You have to. Mm-hmm. Seth might say, hey, I just did a panel upgrade and I made $750 in one day. Well, good for him. He's been doing it for a while. You know what I mean? Like, he's on that track. Sometimes when you're hungry, you take a little less, and sometimes you take a little,
Well, I'll give you a good example. My brother is active contractor. He does 75 an hour. Right. And he does not, and that's not including material. That's just 75 an hour. He doesn't charge a trip charge. He's 75 an hour. And he knows that everybody around him is charging a fee to come out there, but he doesn't do it. I said, you're not going to get me out there without me getting paid. I don't do free estimates anymore. No. All right. Well, I don't do any of that anymore. But I mean, I stopped doing free estimates a long time ago.
If you send me something online, I can send you over a bid within 5 minutes or whatever if it's something quick. But to go out, I think what you're referring to is going out on the actual job site, driving,
looking at it,
investing. I'm telling them how you're going to do it, or them asking you, well, the other electrician said he would do this. How do you think you're going to do it? Well, I'm not going to tell you. I can tell you it's going to cost you $500. How about that?
Yeah.
But that's the wasted time, right? That is 2 hours of wasted time, if you ask me.
Yeah, and for example, the benefit of somewhere like Texas, it's not the same everywhere, but Texas, we can't, if we charge by the hour and we do time and material, in Texas, electricians that do residential work would have to pay taxes. So you get around that. You don't have to if you give a flat fee. So you don't do per hour. Now that's different in commercial, totally different. It's always got to be, you got to charge sales tax, for example. But when it comes to sales tax, as long as you're doing it at a flat fee, so you can't go to somebody and say, well, it's 2 hours. I'm 75, 85 an hour, because my rate was 85 here, 85 an hour, and it's going to take me 2 hours, and then there's the material. If that's the case, then I have to charge you sales tax on that. If I go and I say, okay, it's going to take me 2 hours at 85, okay, and then the material is going to cost me whatever. Okay, it's going to be $370. It's going to be $475, $375. flat. Okay. So that's how we get around it here in Texas. I just got to give you a fee. I can't tell you this is what it is per hour. So that's how we get around it down here for residential. Now, some people don't know that. They still do it. If they ever get caught, they're going to owe sales tax. But if you just give a flat fee for the job, just a lump sum, it's called lump sum pricing, then you don't have to do that. That's not commercial, but we're talking residential for that. So it is different everywhere. But I tell you what, I'm like Jay. A lot of times with this calling out for pricing, they just want to know what's your rates and all that stuff. I just go look at it. If I had to do that on the phone, I look at it and say, and I always make them understand this is an estimate. There's no way that I would have somebody come and let's say, hey, Paul, I want you to put in a ceiling fan for me up in the back bedroom. Okay. Oh, what's the price? Well, I say, well, I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna be an estimate. It's gonna be about 175 to 225 right in that area. I'll do you as good as I can do, but it's gonna be right there. But that's based on what we know now. If I get there and there's no ceiling box there that can support a fan, then the price is going to change and I have to see it. So this is what my starting point is. Are you okay with that? Because if you're okay with that, we can get it going. They've got at that point got to say yes or no. And I think the number one thing that people don't do well with sales, you ready, Jay? The number one thing that people don't do well with sales, no matter who you are, is they don't ask for the sale. Everybody's giving a price. Everybody's kind of, and you'd be surprised if you throw a price out there and you go, do you want me to do this? Do you want us to get started today or tomorrow? I could put you on the schedule next week. Same people say that's a pushy salesman. Oh, I've given you a price. Would you like me to get you on the books for next week? Because that's the secret to flat rate pricing and Mr. Sparky and all them is you've got stuff on the truck. You got stuff now. When you go do something like that, I'm ready to do it now. You ready to do it now? I'm ready to do it now. Because if you don't want to do it now and you got to come back, it'll be a different price next week. This is what it is right now. That type of thing.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Different in different areas. When we gave flat rate pricing on something, we were like, we're ready to do it now. You ready to do it now? And we would ask for the sale. Most people don't ask for the sale. They beat around the bush. Are they willing to walk away? You're willing to go, okay, well, here's my estimate. And then call me if you need anything. That's bull crap.
Yeah,
I give them this and I say, there you go. We can get it done today. Do you want to go on and get that scheduled? I'll go on and get that scheduled for you. Get it on there. We can get it in right now. If it's something I can do right now, we'll do it right now. You ready?
Yep.
I put them on that. Put people in that awkward position that they have to give you an answer.
Well, the last thing you want to do, and we've gone over this with, oh my goodness, I forget the guy's name who comes to Wednesday night. He hasn't come in a while. Yo, that's his name.
He called me today.
He was, did he? Man,
Yeah.
Hopefully he's doing good. How's he doing?
Yep, doing all right. He called me today. He missed last night, and he said he didn't see the link in the Fast Tracks forum, and he hasn't moved over to the Fast Tracks Black forum yet, which all Fast Track students need to do. So he didn't see it, so he wasn't there, but he wanted to come last night. So,
well, he was telling us about a situation where he wouldn't, and this is no offense to calling anybody out because I've done this too. But he would tell him, okay, I'm going to come do the service work, but he wouldn't give him a price of how much he's going to charge him per hour. And then at the end, he gives them the price and the material, and they rebuttal. They go, hey, no, this is too high. And now he's trying to fight for the money that he earned. And and he goes, how do I get away from that? And kind of like what you're saying is, hey, this is how much it's going to be. Do you accept? Yes, I accept.
Yeah,
okay, well then let's.
I don't start any work with the customer not knowing what we're working with, because they'll never agree to it. They'll always think you're charging too much. They'll be like,
yeah,
was that?
And when the work's done, they got what they wanted.
Yeah,
it's not like you're gonna go back and rip it out now. Now you're gonna be causing some type of crime. But
yeah,
it's just good to say, hey, it's gonna be $350. This is how much it's gonna cost. Do you agree? Yes, I agree. All right, my technician's on his way. And then you go do it, and you can have something even there that they can sign. Right now we always get some type of approval. I've been down that road with these, and I've been burned. I've told you about a couple situations where I've been burned before, and it's not a good feeling. And just to go, dang. And my wife always tells me, "Did you have it in a contract?" And I said,
Oh yeah.
no. I think
That's another amazing thing that you bring up, because I think that very few people actually get contracts. Now, that's not to say going for service work that everybody gets a contract, because they probably don't for that. But if I'm going there to give a price, then, I have some kind of form to make it clear what we're going to do and what I'm doing for you. And that's where the flat rate pricing was so great, because it was a template. It's already in place. All I would check, it was different levels. You would check it, and then they would fill in what, the code was for a ceiling fan, and yada, 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 had codes on it. And then it was boom. And at the end you say, okay, this is what we're going to do. All right. And you get them to sign it. And, again, some people say they're not pushy salesmen. You don't have to be a pushy salesman to ask for the sale. You just got to ask for the sale, right?
Yep. You want your money?
All they can do is say no. Doesn't hurt anybody, right? All they can do is say no. But I just think more people would close a sale if they'd ask for the sale, no doubt.
Oh, there goes my dog.
There's your dog. What else? What else other new tips can we give? That's a lot of stuff for new newbies, or people that are growing their business in 2022. What else can we think of? Am I drawing a blank on anything? Again, I'm not big on those pay listing things, Angie's List and Thumbtacks and all that. I mean, people do well with them. I'm just not. I'll tell you one thing to steer away from, unless you're really starving in 2022, is stay away from the home warranty company stuff. Whereas you sign up for those home warranties and you'll do the work, because first of all, like Choice Home Warranty or Home Shield or all those type of things, first of all, you have to negotiate and give them a deal, and it's always going to be a lower deal than you would get. Secondly, when you go to do that work, you're always the villain, because their home warranty won't cover everything, and they've got something in there that says that we don't cover this. They end up being ticked off at you, and you're just working you have nothing to do with it. You don't want to look at them and go, yeah, well, your home warranty plan sucks. It only covers, I'll give you a great example. HVAC is making a killing on this. I had one years ago. We had one for it, and I knew against it, but it came with the home, and we had them come, and they were working on an air conditioning unit. Well, brand new unit was installed. Everything was covered on it. It came with it. Called them out there. Guess what? Problems with had a daggone lemon from, what is the name of them? Train. I never get a train. They say trains, nothing runs like a train. Well, my train never run. Okay. I just never, it was always something wrong with it. Brand new something always wrong with it. So anyway, what did they do is they had the home warranty people come out, and they covered everything that was already under warranty by Train. But then guess what? The fine print inside of your home warranty was that they only pay like $2.50 a pound for Freon or refrigerant. Well, when the guy come back, he said, I charge $65 per pound for refrigerant. Oh, and your thing needs 13 pounds or whatever it is, number of pounds. So you end up walking away with the Home Shield thinking you're getting your deal for $75 and it fixes anything. You end up walking away paying $600, $700, $800 a pop. And
That's
then
crazy.
here's what else they do. When they come back again, here's what they'll say. Tell me if you've never heard this before. Here's what they say. They'll go, we can't recapture your refrigerant and reuse it because it would void our warranty. How long is your warranty on your repair? Our warranty is good for 30 days. Just use the refrigerant. No, we can't reuse your refrigerant, even though they know they got to recapture it for environmental reasons. Most of them will not reuse it because they bring up this, well, it'll void the warranty. Dude, it was still in there and it was good. capture it and reuse it, but they won't do it. Why? Because they can sell you new refrigerant. It's a scam. But those guys that do that, they are doing it because they're hungry and they're willing to do it, and they found a way around it. Electricians can't get that lucky. We don't have the Freon to sell. Okay, we don't have any of that 410 whatever stuff to sell. We can't make it our money that way. So they have a scam going with that. Electricians can't do that. But again, I tell people, steer away from those home warranty companies. It'll cause you more headache than it's worth, and they never want to pay. And I know occasions where people have done work and they never got paid. My brother did some for this choice warranty and did 2 project jobs for him, and he's yet to ever get paid from them. Yet they still call him all the time. We got work to do over here. We got you to go do this warranty. He just won't do it. He's like, dude, y'all didn't pay me the first time. I'm done with that. So it's not worth it. Not worth your time. There's other places you can invest that time. You know what I'm saying? You can invest that time flying, hitting door hanging, trying to get in with some kind of business networking. You get to go to a few of those for free. You can go to the business networking stuff for free and determine whether or not it was for you or not. And if it's not, you ain't got to join. You can leave. Yeah. That type of thing. So there's many ways, but you got to be active. You have to be active to do something. There's just a bunch of different ways you can be active in it. Again, one of the easiest ways that I would do is ride around some of these job sites and see which companies are doing the work, which mechanical companies are doing the work in that subdivision that you want to do work in. See which one they're doing. Don't be afraid to visit that company and try to find out who the owner is, try to find out who the lead guy is, and say, I'd like to have a cup of coffee with you. I know y'all don't do electrical. I do. And, try to build relationships. There was a time when that was key to us building businesses, was building relationships, right? That trust, that type of thing. So don't be afraid to get out there, and be proud of yourself. Talk about yourself and your work like you're the cat's meow, right? Like, I do good work, I do quality work, that type of thing. And just, always positive and move forward. So many opportunities out there. But I do like the door hanging in service work. That's a good way to dip your toe in it and start building up clientele, and treat them well. Talk very nice to people. Be very professional. Be very helpful. Okay? Anything. Okay? When they offer you a glass of water, I've had people say this, no, you should never take the water. BS. Take the water. And when you take it, have a conversation. Thank you. I appreciate it. It is hot out there. I appreciate it. It goes a long way building that rapport. And they hear about somebody that needs some work done, they will go out of their way to say, well, I know this guy. He's a super nice guy. And you know what? You make a first impression. People say you can only make a first impression once, but you get other opportunities to mend a poor first impression. But your focus should be to always give the best first impression. Be prompt, be on time, look the part. Okay. Don't cuss around them. Okay. Things like that. Right. When you're talking to them, here's another little tip. This might creep out some people, but when you're talking to a customer and you're being sincere, look them in the eye. I've had people come and talk to me and stuff like that, and they can't make eye contact. They're looking down, they're looking somewhere. So that tells me you're shady. Something's not right. Make eye contact. Okay. Communicate with them. All good tips for business. Again, you can do what you want, but I'm just telling you, those are some of the things that we can give you as advice if you're hungry in 2022. Okay. What else we got? Jay, we got anything else to wrap up, or are we going to wrap up tonight's show? I thought it was a good show. See, it's not always code, folks. We're not one trick ponies. We can talk about all kinds of things. Right?
Yeah, and we appreciate the donations, but until we get the stuff coming in, some of the stuff that we ordered, it's waiting just like anything else. We're waiting for it to come in instead of continuously getting the same stuff, unless we're going to spin the wheel. But I figured we wait till we get that other stuff in. And
write these names down that donated tonight. You got them written down, right?
Yeah, I got them written down.
Okay. I think y'all will probably want some other stuff. So we'll have some other stuff coming in. So unless you want to spin. So all right.
What is 700
So here's our code turds for the night. And the one on the left here is, well, this is an interesting one because so I'm guessing it is 700 for one phase and 70 for the other. That's an amazing piece of equipment right there.
Yeah, it is.
Isn't that something? So obviously a misprint from the factory, but you know, one of them's got the line through it. So that means you cancel that one out, Jay. So it's really 7-0. That's a cancellation.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it's just canceling it out. You know, it didn't exist because it drew a line through it, canceled it out.
Gotcha. Gone. Gonzoed. Boom.
Yep. Done. Yep. And on the right, we obviously see we have a plastic box, but you know what? Is that a receptacle cut into the back of it?
Receptacle right there. That's for like the TV. That goes behind your TV so that plug doesn't stick out as much. You know, you just recess it into the wall a few inches. And it's a simplex, so you could actually get the maximum rating out of the breaker on that, out of that 700 amp breaker. That's a 700 amp plug right there.
Wait a minute. They're two different ones, Jay. Come on now.
I thought that breaker was feeding that plug. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. No. So, so the other one is obviously you look at the boxes held in at the top and with sheetrock screws. Again, it's like, let me just screw this into the wall. And I can't see too deep into the box, but obviously that one is somebody had to spend the time, Jay, to literally cut out that receptacle in the back of that box. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really weird too because it has the two slots and then the ground, but then there's like a center screw or something in that receptacle. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know what's in the middle of it. Yeah, so maybe this is a clock. Maybe this is for a clock receptacle. I doubt it in a 2-gang box. So what this tells me is that on the other side of that plastic box, which this looks like an old work box with the wings, retro box cut in. So obviously, of course, the gapping around the box, obviously, it's an 1/8 of an inch too much. So it's too much. Got gapping, you're gonna have to fill around it, the big gaps.
Right.
But obviously that receptacle, the terminations and everything is behind that box. I'm assuming that's just in the cavity. The moral of the story with the code turd is just don't do that. This here on the right, don't do that. It's simple. That one you don't do. Now the one on the left, you know what? I would take that back to the supply house and just tell them, give me another one. Yeah, no. I just just give me another. Of course, nobody in their right mind knows it's 700. I mean, obviously, but I'm not sure. I don't know why a manufacturer would even let that quality control, even let that get out of their facility.
Yeah, that's a doozy right there.
But we all know it's 70. If it's got one on the right side, 70 on the left side. That 0 is crossed out. That's just the way a savvy manufacturer will do it. Dude, we're not going to trash that. Just mark it out.
Right. There's not much box feel on that receptacle. That's right, Joel.
Yeah, Joe, know what he said? He did it so that yoke didn't count as box fill. Yeah, because there's no yoke in it. Yeah, there you go.
Nothing there, man.
And I don't know how it's holding it in, to be honest with you. I can't.
I wonder if that's through the center. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what that is.
I would hope not, because that goes back into the actual guts of the receptacle.
That's what I'm saying. It's like usually you would think, okay, that part is a broken ground prong, but the ground's below it that's wide open. So I don't know what the heck that is. Because you know how they have those one where
we know it's 15. We know it's 15 amp because it doesn't have the T slot on it, so it's a 15 amp. I just don't know where.
And how they cut out that hole, because it's not even I don't know what they use to cut out the back of that either.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't know, Seth. Is there a box back there? But even if it was, that ain't gonna cut it with this.
Box, so I mean, double boxing it, I guess. I don't know. The half hot. Yeah, I mean, Adam, I don't know. It's
like garbage.
The data
Also,
with the data in there.
also notice how the receptacle is oval, which you typically would see the prongs turn the other way, where it's more oval is straight up and down, where this is oval, and then it's this the prongs are with the oval. So typically, if you look at a receptacle, you look at one of your receptacles, it's oval, and then they run straight up and down, but it's more like an oval face on the receptacle. Here, it's the oval, and it's running with the oval. Okay, so, or the long dimension, I should say. Just
And I wonder how much time it took that person to install
to do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes
You see, now you're thinking like a contractor, your owner. You're thinking, dude, what would I do to my employee that took the time to be this creatively ignorant? And you got to pay that. You got to pay that, Jay. You have to pay that dude's money if this was something that your guys did. Just saying.
I don't know, Seth. I don't know what you're doing over here, but no, maybe he's trying to save because he used too many staples on a job. I don't know, Seth. I don't know what you're doing over here, man. I don't know. No, just joking. Poor Seth. He's gonna send me a thumbs down or something.
It's all about the staples. I'm just saying.
He's starving. That's right.
He's starving. You did say something earlier about solar. If people today, if they spend a whole lot of time doing PV work, there will be starving electricians, because that is a feast or famine. Some people do well. Some people lose their butt doing PV work. It's just they don't price it right. And today, probably problem with PV work is probably getting all the components are a pain in the butt. My brother was telling me how hard it is now to find panels with main breakers, and now they're this the shortage everywhere, So
yeah, and they don't. Anytime I've ever talked to a PV company, the service upgrades that they do for those panels, they give them at cost. I mean, if not lower, because they're making so much money on the actual they sell them. Let's say I don't know, what do you call them, the modulars, whatever, on top of the roof, or the whole system's
PV.
40 grand.
Yeah, Pete. Well, you got the actual array made up of the modules, well, the panels with the modules, and all this kind of stuff. Again, that you're doing. Again, I am not sold on it, and I was around when it came by the first time. I get it. If you're going to spend the money to put a PV, and I don't want to get off. We're going beyond time and off topic, but to do PV right, you got to have the PV. You've got to have the Tesla walls or the Gen wall in order to make. If you're not storing your power, then if you really think that you're going to spin it enough back and really do you any good other than just feeling green, then you really did get sold by the salesperson that came to your door and sold you on a PV system. Because the amount of time that it's going to take to pay that system off, even with grants, even with money from the government helping out, to the point where at some point you're going to have to actually replace pieces of it because it does have an end of life cycle on it. It's just not worth it. I mean, I don't know anybody that I know of that really truly says that they did it, that they're making any money. Maybe they're just doing it to feel good. The meter will only spin backwards so much. Now, there are companies that will buy back your power. There's one here in Texas that actually will buy back the power. So he is going to have a break-even point. And they told him that based on the rates of buyback on the meter, that that he will eventually get it broke. If it gets to about 8 to 10 years, he'll be paid for it. I'm like, that's great. But at the end of the day, that's a projected value. And so something's got to motivate you to do that. I'm not motivated to spend 40, 50, 60 grand to put PVs on the roof in order to potentially make my investment back 8 to 10 years from now, especially in an area where we get the hail the size of softballs. So I'm just saying, not for me, maybe for you. I'm just saying. But what few PV jobs that I did in the past, I didn't make no money on it. I mean, I barely made any money on it. Maybe I priced it wrong. I don't know. I did micro inverters from the end phase when they first came out. That to me was the way to go. But at any rate, who knows? But there's a bunch of topics. And anything else you want to close on, Jay, about 2022 in marketing or anything other than that? Or are we pretty much beating that one up?
I think we're pretty good.
Okay.
We threw a lot at him.
All right. Well, folks, again, as always, we do thank you for joining us here on Electrify. As always, Bitcoin. No, thank you. Speaking of Bitcoin, let's empty the tip jar. It's gone. All right. It's spent. We got your names down. Email me if you'd rather have it. We'll spin it next week for you. But I believe most people want to hold out for the new stuff that'll come. So we'll keep you on there. If you still want stickers and other stuff like that, just holler at me. I'll get you some stickers while they last, while I still have some. Remember, you can always go to electricianpride.com. That's electricianpride.com for all different size stickers of all different types, even our Electrify sticker, all types of stuff, even these swanky hats. Look at that, Jay. This is, y'all seen my little one with the little, where is it, right here? Little Electrify on that side. All that good stuff. So anyway, till next time, stay safe and God bless. You've been listening to Electrify with your hosts, Paul Abernathy and Jay, the Basement King Grunberg.